This conference will now be recorded.
Come on, go ahead.
No idea, Rahul.
So basically what happens in a black box when your flight is crashed or something. So basically what happens? It records everything. It records whatever the conversations you had whenever the flight is crashed. So with the help of that evidence, you'll get to know what is happening, what is not happening. So once that black box is there, you can connect your system and listen what was the exact conversations that has happened in the flight or in the conversation. Clear? Clear, everyone? Is this clear, everyone?
Yes. Yes.
So similarly, here black box testing means what? It is a way of software testing in which the internal structure or the program or the code is hidden and nothing is known about it. So similar to the black box that I was telling, you will never know what is happening inside that box. You know only know that thing is that once you connect to the device, you'll get to know what is heard. Clear? For a black box testing, you need not know what is the internal structure, how the code is written, what is there. You need not know the implementation part of it. Clear?
Okay.
Yes.
So how the code is being implemented is not necessary for black box testing. It is mostly done by the software testers. As the thing point says that implementation of code, how it is done is not needed. So no knowledge is required to know how the implementation is done. Generally, how we do functional testing, whatever the functional testing that we do is called as black box testing, guys. Clear?
Okay.
The testing can be based on SRS documents. What do you mean by SRS documents? Software Requirement Specification document. Clear?
Yes.
So what next? The testing, no knowledge of programming is required. That we are testing the behavior of the software, and it is used to do the behavior testing of the software. What do you mean by behavior testing? We are checking how the application behaves in different situations or different environments, different networks, different network speeds and all. Clear? Clear, everyone?
Okay. Yes.
So it is also applicable to higher levels of software testing. Applicable. What do you mean by applicable to higher levels of software testing? Set. You have heard I mean, there are some higher levels of testing like UAT testing. Most of the people heard the concept of. You heard the concept of UAT testing. You heard the concept of SIT, client level SIT testing. Client level SIT testing means the system integration testing that is done in the client environment before going to UAT to check how the application is behaving in the client environment before handing over to the UAT users. Clear? Clear?
Yes.
Whatever testing we do can be done by trial and error ways and methods also. Clear? Clear, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
The best example for black box testing is searching something on Google by keywords. Like you search something. Today you search with the word cricket. Tomorrow you'll search with some random junk value. That means what? If you search on Google with cricket, then some articles should be displayed. If you are searching something on Google with some junk values, ideally it should not display. Okay? Clear?
Yes.
Any doubts? So generally will be a part of black box testing. So what are the different types of black box testing? Functional testing is what we do. Non-functional testing means automation testing, performance testing, security testing, the database testing that we do, and regression testing. What do you mean by regression testing? As we have discussed yesterday, we will do the testing from end to end. Like we'll cover the application from each and every corner. Is this clear, everyone?
Yes.
Regression testing generally on a scale of 1,000 cases, it will take easily, like if you test case by case from a manual perspective, it takes around 3 weeks. 3 weeks, that means 15 days. 15 days into 8 hours. That means total 120 hours it will be taken for a single user to finish a regression testing on a scale of 1,000 cases. In general. Clear? Generally, no one person cannot do the complete regression testing. I'm just giving a math. If a single person work on it, if 2 persons are there, then 60 hours. If 3 persons are there, then 40 hours. I mean, 3 persons are there, 20 hours, 20 days, 20 hours. Sorry. Clear?
Yes.
Clear, everyone?
Rahul, just for understanding, see, black box testing has all these three: functional, non-functional, and regression, right?
Because we need not have any coding knowledge to do any kind of testing.
Any kind of black box testing.
Any kind of black box testing that you do, you need not know how the code is implemented behind the application.
Correct. So, as black box testing has three categories. I mean, three types of testing, which is functional, non-functional.
We classify them into three categories. That's it.
Okay. So, what is the difference between all? I mean, is there any difference between all these three?
Functional testing means the regular manual testing that you do in your daily life. You find the defects, you write the test cases, you log the bugs, you go for a bug defect triage call. That all comes under functional testing, right? You do some ad hoc testing, you do some smoke, you do some sanity. Yes or no?
Yes.
Non-functional means this automation testing, like using Selenium and the performance testing using Jmeter tool or the load runner tool, or the security testing using Kali Linux, or the burp suite, or the burp tools. A lot of tools for security testing, and number of tools are there. And database testing also we do. There are a lot number of non-functional testing tools. And you also use AppDynamics for performance testing, where we measure how the application behaves under different loads or different mechanisms.
Okay.
This doesn't come under functional testing, right? These are not as part of your SRS documents, so these don't come under functional testing, right? So that's why these are all categorized as. Dinesh, automation testing involves functional testing as well, but the problem with manual automation testing is not a mandate for every organization. I mean, right now it is becoming a mandate for every organization, but it is not. It will not start the work unless and until manual team signs off or approves it, because all the KT that the automation team receives is from manual team only, not from the BS. You should remember this point, Dinesh. Functional testing only involves the manual members only, or the person from automation team who are doing the manual testing. Automation engineers are never part of functional testing. Dinesh, hope my point is clear. Yeah. Regression testing, everyone knows. You will write a detailed flow or detailed execution of things. Clear?
Okay.
Any doubts, anyone?
So you're saying the testing for the black box is done based on the requisite form or the requisite detail that we get from the client, not on the basis which is written anywhere.
Yeah, based on the requirements, and sometimes since if you are working in this organization for a longer time, you can do your testing based in ad hoc manner also, right? Because you know what kind of defects you can find. Sometimes the experience matters. Yes or no?
Correct. Yes, yes. We know generally what are the different types of errors that we can get or bugs we can get. So overall, at a high level, those bugs are checked whether it is working or not, right? That's
yeah. Apart from the requirements, we do some normal testing also.
So it is not a flow of testing. I mean, the flow that is being followed, but wherever you feel as a project lead or a project head, we feel that these are things that we generally get errors. So we try to check those. That is what
Yeah, it
comes
involves
under.
like the traditional, I mean, it involves the traditional testing, that is writing test scenarios, writing test cases and testing them, testing the documented versions. And also there will be sometimes you need to test the undocumented phase, the boundary testing. We already discussed, right? The one type of testing called as boundary testing. Suppose if there are 11 records in a page and it should display only 10 records in a single pagination. And after clicking on next, it should display the 11th record. So sometimes what happens now? If there are 9 records or if there are 11 records, it will display in a single page. Clear? Clear, Sridhar and others?
Yes.
So these kind of boundary testing also. Regression testing is not the checking the impact of the bug also. It also involves testing the complete application, Dinesh. Yesterday we have discussed this point. I hope if you are there, that if you have attended the session, you would have understand the things. What is regression? What is sanity? It's not checking the impact of bug fixes. That is done by sanity testing, not in regression testing. Regression testing involves complete testing from end to flow for all the test cases that you have written in detail, as well as the bugs. Everything should be tested end to end, not only the bugs. Testing the bugs in the latest build is called as sanity testing, because the whatever the bugs that you deploy in the system should not impact the application, should not impact the normal business flow. I hope I'm right? Whatever the bugs that whatever the patches that you apply should not impact the normal business flow. That is why we do sanity. Correct me if I'm wrong. So no, guys.
Yes.
So coming to white box testing, this is generally done by development team, and sometimes you heard the terminology called SDETs. You have heard a profile called as SDET profile.
No.
So SDET in the job openings, haven't you seen SDET profiles?
I heard somewhere, I don't remember. Some JD I think I must have seen.
So what do you mean by SDET? Software developer and software development engineering and testing, actually. So that is the most in demand position in the testing currently. What is SDET? What is the purpose exactly? Is that SDET means he or she needs to do both development and testing simultaneously. Clear?
Okay.
So he or she needs to be part of both development and testing, to be honest. So why he or she needs to be part of development and testing is that sometimes the small issues are there. You can't go to the development team and ask them to fix each and every issue, right? So the current trend is, even if their testers have found some issues, if they are small ones, then they can fix it and release it to build for deployment. That is the new era that is happening as deaths. Clear?
Yeah.
In abroad, it is one of the most popular professions. In India, is yet to come. I mean, there are some companies which are offering this position, but the services utilized is a bit different in India compared to abroad. So coming to white box testing, it is a way of testing the software in which tester has knowledge about the internal structure of the code or program of the software. Here in black box testing, that what we said, the tester doesn't have any knowledge about the code or the program written in the software. Whereas in white box testing, tester has knowledge about the code or the program that he has written in the software. Code implementation is necessary for white box testing. So the person needs to know how the code implementation is done. Most of the time it is done by software developers slash SDETs. Clear? Clear, everyone?
Yes.
So how the code is written, it is used to check the structural and architectural design of the software. What do you mean by structural and architectural design of the software? How the code is built, that is the structural design. Architecture wise means how it is working in our servers, in the as per the given software configurations and as per the given hardware configurations, how the code is working. This type of testing is started after detailed design document. Hope you have seen in the V model methodology, right? High level design and detailed design document. Yes or no?
Yes, that was there in that table.
Yeah. So after the detailed design document is done, this type of testing starts. Why only after detailed design document? So by that time you will have a knowledge of what is your code needs to be built, what are the areas that you need to be tested. Yes or no? Before the implementation learning, you need to have your checkpoints or metrics, right? What are the areas that you need to test in your code?
Correct.
Because you're as a programmer, you have the programming knowledge, so you have set some base benchmarks or metrics, right? So if it meets this criteria, then you can assume that your code is working like that. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
We are logically testing our software, and it is time consuming, obviously, because all the time you can't do the can't test the code, right? Can't see how it is being done, etc., etc. Because you can't see each and every line of code is properly tested or properly done. It is very difficult, right, for us to do all the time. Clear, everyone? Is this clear, everyone?
Yes.
Rahul.
So the best example for white box testing is when you give an input and check whether the code is working or not. You can check whether the looping is done properly or not. You can see like that. Clear?
Okay.
So that is all about white box testing. And these are the different types of white box testing, like path testing, loop testing, conditional based testing. So these are more of a developer's perspective rather than a functional team perspective. Why are we discussing white box testing? Because tomorrow in interviews, definitely this is the first question that they will be asked. What is the difference between white and black box testing? Who will do what? And you should be able to answer them also. Clear?
Yes, Rahul.
So that is the most important thing about black box and white box testing. And sometimes what happens is even the companies which are much invested into testing and especially into automation testing, what happens is even sometimes automation engineers are part of this white box testing. Why? Because they do the function, they do some testing, and they can also understand the code, that sometimes that they can understand the code that is written by the software developers sometimes. Clear?
Okay.
Any doubts regarding white box and black box testing? Yes.
Can you just go to that black box page on the screen, like this white box? In this point where it is mentioned as it can be referred as outer or external software testing, it means the testing can be done either by the same product team or the client team, is it?
Yes, I mean internal, where did you see the point? Can you just show me? I'll explain accordingly.
1, 2, 3. Fifth point in this.
Yeah, outer or external software testing. So basically what? So basically, you have a tape recorder in your home. You need not know the implementation of it. You know what is outside. So what you do, you continuously play the record for 15 hours and check how it is working. You keep on pressing the play, pause, record button and see how it is working. So that is the best example I can give for outer or external software testing. So similarly, what kind of testing you do, you call it as external software testing in another terminology.
Okay. Okay.
You play around with your application, right? You create tons of accounts, you create tons of payments, you make tons of payments, you do hell lot of activities and check whether the application is working or not. You just play around, you just make a mockery of the application. Similar to what we do with the tape recorder, right? Yes or no?
Correct.
Like that. Oh, hope any.
Rahul,
Yeah.
white box testing is done immediately after writing the code, or once the black box testing regression,
Black box
like
testing
all the.
later. The white box and black. First comes white box, then black box. In the idealistic scenario, not many people will do a white box testing in the current era.
Okay, immediately after writing the code, white box testing is done by the development team.
Yeah. You can say a sort of unit testing also. They write the scripts,
Okay,
the unit scripts to check whether it's working or not. I mean, I'm just making you comfortable and easy to understand what is white box, because not many people have the knowledge of white box testing. Black box testing, everyone has complete knowledge.
okay, okay. So, like white box testing, as in testers, doesn't have any role to play in this white box testing. They don't
I told,
even consider this, or
I told you now. There's another rule called as SDETs.
yes, estate, yes.
And testing. Sometimes those members are also being a part of it. And I also told you sometimes automation team, someone from automation team will be a part of this, because when they want to do some unit testing as per the test cases, automation engineers help them a lot, because they can't do that manual testing that black box testing engineer people can do. So sometimes automation team comes into picture and they start executing the test cases, and whatever you start executing, then they'll get the logs, they'll get the details in the console, and any errors on the console, they'll help us to rectify them. This is another kind of white box testing you can do, because automation engineers are capable of now understand at least 15 to 20% of code written by developers.
Okay,
I mean, the role of automation is very essential in the current era, because the applications are built so complex and so dynamic, and the requirements are coming up and down. So it is very difficult to do white box testing all the time. Instead, we do, I mean, white box testing, the real white box test, the ideal white box testing can be done. So the redefined version of white box testing that we see in the current era is either they write using JUnit test cases and perform the testing, and to ensure that whether the logs are not throwing some random errors or something, or they call the automation team to just do a random unit testing in their environment, so that before the build goes to QA team, we ensure that it's working properly or not. These kind of new and refined white box testings are happening.
okay, okay,
And sometimes they use Sonar Cube as the tool to check whether any security in the code is lacking. Because ultimately, whenever building application, we should not compromise on the security part, right? You should not reveal much of the
yes,
details in the URL, right? So they go to Sonar Cube and they just check the security of the code, any vulnerabilities are there in the code. This kind of testing also happens under white box.
okay.
So clear, everyone?
Yes, Rahul.
Any other doubts, anyone?
No, Rahul, thanks.
So have you discussed about prototype testing? Because I'm done with the slides of this. 1 minute. I'm so sorry. I'm not yet done. Sorry. So coming to this, we'll be discussing about Agile methodology. Clear? What is the Agile methodology? Basically, what you must be hearing the terminology called as Agile methodology, right? What is it basically that you hear about Agile methodology, Agile stuff?
Agile, I think, has become very famous these days. I mean, from
Yeah, it's a
quite some
fancy
time.
term. In testing side, it's becoming a fancy term. What is this fancy term called Agile means?
Um, that the way the project is implemented,
Just a
by
minute,
different.
Sridhar. Hold on.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, Sridevi, you can continue.
No problem. What I was saying, I mean, I just overheard, but not have not worked on agile methodology from the product team perspective. I have worked only on the service team or the client side. So the major difference, which I understand from the other technologies that we have spoken so far, and the agile methodologies would be that we can do any kind of changes anytime without starting from the beginning of the project, so that the client understands how the project is going on and what is the current status, whether there are any changes to be done, and any corrections needs to be done, or we have to drop it at that time and then start beginning with the new things like that. So instead of the other methods where because the final product comes only at the end to the client, here it is not like that. It comes at different intervals at regular time period, short time period, so that the client understands how the application or is working, or how, whether it is suitable for their business and requirements. If they don't want to continue, they will drop it, or they change it, or do changes. Because in the other methodology, we learned right on the day one saying we'll not be able to do changes right at the beginning. I mean, till the end. I mean, if there is a change, that means the entire thing has to be scrapped and started again. That's what I understand.
Okay.
The difference.
Nice. How about others? How about others? How about others? Any other people who can answer?
Yeah, Rahul. So, as Sridevi correctly mentioned, she covered all the points, but Agile methodology is iterative and incremental methodology, which is like planned as per the sprints, and for every sprint there are particular number of uh, code or builds they do, and every day we will have scrum meetings, and during those meetings we have to discuss about the application and what are the things that we have to do, and if there are any changes we can implement it. And in other methodologies, at the end we provide the product to the client, but in this agile methodology, initially when we design we will give a prototype, like a prototype model to the client, saying that this is how the application or the final end product looks like. So that gives a that gives a clear picture, like what is the end product will be, and if there are any changes we can incorporate those changes at any point of time. So that is the best uh, method. This is the best method as of now, people are following. Yeah.
Okay. That's it. That's it from others. Any other point from others? Or that's it? That's it, or anything else, guys? More on the process rather than the documentation. Okay. So basically, what is agile methodology? As everyone has communicated, as everyone communicated that it's the product is developed in chunks or in small pieces, and we have the requirements can be hard and fast more in the process and documentation. Everything is fine. So generally, what are the phases that we go? The phases remains the same again. The requirements, definition, and analysis of concepts, analyzing the concepts and requirement definitions, determining the current state and your expectations. So the expectations in agile methodology are set for that particular sprint only, not for the complete application. You all got this point? Because we build the application in small pieces, not in big pieces. Because why agile is another reason why agile is popular, I'll tell you. Because customers don't have the clear cut requirement at the start. As long as you keep on showing some sprints, as long as you progress in some iterative models, then they will get a feel and look of the application of what is there, what is happening. Because in waterfall model or V model or some other model, you need to give your product requirements upfront. You cannot change the requirements at a later point of time. Whereas in agile methodology, you can start building up your product with a vague requirement, and you can start progressing it with those vague requirements. As soon as the time progresses, then the customers and the people who are working in the project will have a clear picture of what is the final agenda that we need to achieve. Clear?
Yes. But Rahul, the requirements that we get from the client is the overall requirements, and then it is divided or what do you say, worked in small pieces, right? Like for every sprint taken up. But the requirement that we get from the client is as a whole, right? This is what they want.
As a whole, you get it, but on an overview basis, on the critical business rules that needs to be followed. Like we know we need to pay the EMI on 6th or 7th, but we don't know about other things, right? I'm just giving an example. We know when to pay your emails, but we don't know when to sometimes you forget your activities, right? Come on.
Correct.
In your work life schedule, you tend to lose your personal self, but you know how to be in a professional self. Similar with the customers.
Yeah, what we can say probably is like the end product is not known to the client, but they have some certain requirements in their thought process that this is what they want, and they give all the requirements, and we divide that requirements basis the app that we are going to build for a particular company. Give them in small pieces in every sprint and see how it works and whether it is actually suitable for their business or not. If it is suitable, go ahead, and if it is not suitable, we'll drop it there and work on a different methodology and create a new one. That is what it is.
No, not different testing methodologies. They will come up with a fresh set of requirements with a specified timelines and specified financial matters again.
Exactly. That's what, if there is a change in the market trend and the company feels or the client feels that there needs to be a change, that I don't want this way, I want this way, then there is no point continuing. There's no use of continuing the process.
Yeah,
so
you can early detection.
Correct. So, but as such, the requirements and definition analysis of concept, everything which is done in phase 1, has all the requirements from the company as such, right? Right from beginning to the end. It is not only sprint wise that they give.
Yeah, they give the complete requirements. That is why the second phase is what we are planning the sprints, right? The second phase in agile methodology, planning of sprints. Arrange teams and tools need to optimize prediction. That is what we are planning of sprints. The second phase. Suppose if at this product we need to have 7, 8 plus 8 sprints, then we'll have 8 sprints. Clear? Clear?
Okay. Yeah.
In product company, agile process will be different. Could you please tell me which type of product company are you talking about, Dinesh? Because different product companies have different styles in agile methodology again. Some people consider agile methodology as per the modules. Some people consider agile methodology as per the sprints that they define. Depends. The sprint planning depends again. So the collaborative design development. From the beginning of the process, the end user's involvement and feedback is critical. So after the sprint is completed, you will be having a sprint demo calls with the client. Have you heard this word? Sprint demo calls with the client. We collaborate with them. We understand what is the feedback from the customers, how it is developed, how it is enhanced by showing the mock UI, by showing the design architecture, how this is what we are trying to build. Are you okay with it? this kind of collaborative team efforts will be happening. Once they are okay with it, then the frequent development delivery starts. Feedback on testing and appropriate changes are imperative. Then review and monitor. So this is a endless. This is a cycle that happens on and on and on till the project goes live. Clear? Here,
Yes.
the best thing about agile methodologies, customers are known about the activities that you are doing at face to face. Whereas in water, we or some other methodology, the customer doesn't know what is happening in the middle. Here you are trying to involve the customer in every phase to understand what is happening, what is not happening, so that when the product goes live, their technical team or their users should not face any impact or breaches. Clear?
Okay.
That's the beautiful part of agile methodology. That is why it has become proper. Clear?
Yes, Rahul.
Any doubts? Any doubts with respect to agile testing methodology and stuff? So the most popular agile methodologies include the rational unified process, the Scrum, crystal clear, extreme programming, adaptive software development, the feature driven development. These are collectively referred as agile methodologies. As per the Agile Manifesto in 2001, the rational unified process, the Scrum, the feature driven development, the dynamic systems method development, adaptive software development, all these kinds of methodology come under agile methodologies. Clear? Some people say Scrum based development, some people say adaptive development, some people say feature driven development. Clear?
In all this, the methodology is the same or is it all different?
All methodologies remains the same, but how you approach differs. That's it.
Okay.
Hmm? Clear?
Yes.
So basically in agile methodology, you have a Scrum Master also, right?
Correct.
So what is the purpose of Scrum Master? Could anyone say? Like you have also heard the concept of Scrum Master, right?
Person who drives the team and and the product. I mean, mediator between the product, the team, and um, the core team who works on the project, who's
Okay.
basically responsible for the entire project to be finished by the team as per the specified time.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Handle Scrum meetings, follow up, etc. Okay. So what is the purpose of a Scrum meeting now?
To
What is the
check the
purpose of
to decide the actionables and see what needs to be done regularly, who's responsible for what, and what is the current status of things that are discussed.
Hmm.
Where are we standing as per our timelines? Whether we're able to do it on time, are we lagging, or are we ahead of time? And what needs to be done to correct the things in something if something is going wrong.
Hmm.
All are discussed in the Scrum meetings.
Okay. Nice. 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 So any other doubts with respect to the Scrum and all the stuff? Basically, Scrum Master role is not only to see the progress, in order to understand what kind of expertise also we require if we are lacking somewhere. Based on that, he can talk to the HR and finances team to check the compatibilities, whether we can hire someone or not, or something like that. Clear? Clear, everyone?
Yes.
And sometimes the role of Scrum Master is not only a mediation, you can say, he's also trying to assess the individuals also. Sometimes Scrum Masters are so smart enough in then 15 minutes, they'll try to assess the individuals also, who are slacking, who are not. In 15 minutes, they'll try to understand who is what and all the stuff. And Scrum meetings happen exactly for 15 minutes. That's the purpose of Scrum. If it exists beyond 15 minutes, then that's not a Scrum meeting. That is called a team meeting.
Yeah, that's how it's called a stand-up meeting also, no? Because people don't stand for more than 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing. So clear, everyone?
Yes.
So basically, a lot of interactions are required in Agile methodology with the organization, with the developers. Since from a testing perspective, you need to have a lot of interactions with developers, testers, BS. Everyone needs to work as a team because no one is having the complete requirement of what is to be delivered to the customer, right? Yes or no? So demo working software is considered as the best means of communication with the customers to understand the requirements instead of depending on documentation. So a basic prototype is required to show to the customer sometimes. Okay. As I've told you, customers as requirements cannot be gathered completely in the beginning of the project. So continuous customer interactions is very important to get proper requirements. Agile development is focused on quick responses and adaptive to changes and continuous developments. Yes or no? We are prone
Yes.
for changes. We need to be ready for changes.
Correct.
So the main advantages of agile methodologies, it's a realistic approach, promotes teamwork and cross training. It can be developed rapidly and demonstration is also easy and suitable for changing requirements. So I mean sometimes you can work on a low resource model. Clear? Clear everyone? So enables concurrent development within overall plan context. Little planning, like when you are working for waterfall or agile or something like that, you can have little planning. I mean, compared to other methodologies, so planning is less, easy to manage, gives the flexibility to development and developers, etc. Mainly because the requirement scope is well defined, right? Like you have this is a feature to build, this is the scope of main. In waterfall model, you have to build everything at once, which is very difficult, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
That is why agile is most famous. Your scopes are well defined, well planned actually, as per the requirements that you receive. More risk, like you should always understand that more kind of risk are there, because if the client is giving changes continuously, it is very difficult to maintain that kind of maintainability, quality, sustainability. functional, I mean, strict delivery management dictates the scope, functionality to be delivered and adjustment. The functionality should be delivered within that sprint. That's another problem. Within 2 weeks, sometimes some complex functionalities will be there, which will not be delivered, right? Yes or no? And since there
Yes.
is less documentation compared to other testing methodologies, we are dependent on individuals. Suppose if the individual leaves the company and goes to other company, then it is very difficult for the new person to join and do the same activity, right? Because in agile methodologies, and especially when you're working for product based in agile methodology, you'll not even have a single document of what is happening. No proper code, no proper code comments, no proper KTs, no proper transfer. These all things will happen. Clear? And KTs,
Yes.
the cross training and cross training and technological training is not possible because we don't have any proper documentation again. Because the person who is expert can't sit for hours and hours with the people to train them or to educate them about this module or about this technology, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
So, since agile methodology is more of a customer based interaction, so if the customer is not clear with the requirements, we are taken off for a spin. That is for sure. We are taken out for a spin. That means the team will be guided in a wrong phase or in a wrong manner, etc., and all the stuff. Clear?
Yes.
Any doubts? Any doubts, anyone?
No.
So this is the main reason. I mean, whatever testing methodologies are there, it's up to you and the organization to choose it wisely as per the needs. Because no testing methodology is 100% perfect for us. So based on the requirements and needs, you have to choose it accordingly.
Okay.
And coming from your job perspective with respect to testing, with the manual testing, there is very less guarantee that you will be sustained in a job, and the opportunities for only manual is also completely less. So it is ideally important for everyone to learn automation also. Clear?
Okay.
It's ideally enough to learn automation because your career will be secure and you can prolong your testing career for a long time. Because the in the recent days have seen a lot of experienced people having over 10 plus are struggling to get a job in another company because of the lack of automation knowledge.
So it's always a combination of manual plus automation, Rahul, or it can be manual with any other testing tool also.
95% of the cases they are expecting manual plus automation in the current era.
Okay.
No matter if the company does only manual, but people are expecting you to know manual plus automation.
No, no. My question is, you said we have to be having dual
Yeah,
knowledge,
yeah.
dual both. So
Yes,
I'm saying,
yes.
along with manual, is it mandatory that we have to learn only automation, or can we also learn other things, other testing tools also,
Like if you are
like
learning
performance
performance testing,
or
then you're specifically known for as a performance engineer. If you are doing some ETL testing, you are specifically known as a ETL tester. But the the era of manual testing is completely reducing. What is happening means the manual testers need to be adept with automation testing for sure. That is the common trend, or that is the class that is being coming slowly, sooner or later.
So
That-
if we learn manual testing, if we learn something else like ETL or a performance or any
Then you will
other
be
security,
recognized as only the ETL tester or a performance tester. You will not be much in the scheme of functional things at that time.
okay. So, but this knowledge of manual testing, will that help in the other tools that we will learn, like any of these?
See, performance testing is more of a stress and load testing, basically. What happens when you put some load on the application? What happens if you create some stress on the application? What is the response time from the API? These kind of testing you'll do in performance testing. ETL testing means what? It's more like back-end testing. how it is being done, how much time the jobs is taking to run, how much time it is taking to taking the data to transform and get back. It's more of a back-end process. Do you think anybody need the functional knowledge? Just need to know the technicalities and nuances of what is there in the backend.
Okay. Okay.
So, like here in Isha, we are also offering the automation. We are also teaching automation. That is never a problem. You can also learn here. We will teach you from the scratch again. It's interesting. Automation is very interesting. Trust me. Because if there is no performance testing, if there is no ATL testing, sometimes it is manageable. But these days, if automation testing is not there, that is turning out to be a very big problem. Because as I've told you, you can't execute the smoke on a daily basis. You cannot execute the regression for every build on a build basis. So that is where automation team will come into picture. They want a quality product. So for that, automation team help is mandatory and must and should. Some people from test data management side also has come. They were asking from help from test automation only to generate bulk data.
Okay.
So clear? Clear everyone? So we'll regroup on Monday for the final session of the crash course. So we'll be discussing about test case and other methodologies of testing if you have missed any. Okay?
Okay, Rahul. Thank you.
Okay, Rahul, thank you.